Hi everybody, sorry about that. I don't know what the heck just happened. I just stopped being live for some reason, but we're back. I hope. So let me know. That was scary. Alright, we're back live. If you have any questions, please ask them of me, and I'll be happy to answer them. Sorry. Darn computers. Alright. So I'm back. I'm live. I think it's all working. Let me know in the comments if there's any issues or any questions that you're having. My goal here, as I said, is to answer anybody's questions. No matter the question, I'm happy to answer it. So as I said, ask them. Makes sense, right? So I think we're back live again. There we are. I don't know why it changed it. It makes it go sideways now and all that stuff. So I apologize. Alright. Alright, so are we interrupted again? I don't know if we're interrupted or not. Alright, I think it's working fine. For some reason, my Wi-Fi went wacky on me, so I had to switch over to cellular. Alright, so anyway, as I said, my goal here is to answer all of your questions, any questions that you have. So feel free to ask away. You know, when I first started running for election for 4 years ago, one of my main concerns was to ensure that we were able to keep economic development as one of the most important things for the city of Maricopa. We've done that because you've seen growth. So if you have questions about economic development, you have questions about public works, you have questions about taxes or roads or whatever it is, feel free to ask those questions. I noticed that on the camera it's like really shiny on my head. Maybe because I was sweating. I don't know. But obviously, you know, one of my main focuses as a city council member is, of course, the ability to have economic development that is sustainable for the city of Maricopa. It's not just that we want to have rooftops. We want to have more than just rooftops. We want to have the ability for people to have businesses and jobs and work here in the city of Maricopa. Every once in a while, you're going to see me looking at my screen over here or on my laptop here. And what I'm doing is I'm reading the questions that you're going to be sending out to me. All right? So, again, thank you so much for dealing with my technical difficulties I was having. I have no idea why it was happening, but now they are fixed, I believe, and we're not stuttering like we were before. I'm going to go ahead and share this video, and I'm asking you to do the same. So down below, there's a little share button right there on your screen. If you can click that button, it will be greatly appreciated, because I want people that like me, don't like me. I want people that disagree with me or agree with me. I want everyone to join our Facebook Live tonight and ask me questions. If you think I'm a bad council member, tell me that and tell me why. If you think I'm a good council member, that's fine. Tell me why. If you think I'm doing something right or something wrong, let me know. My job is to actually answer questions you give me. I'm not going to tell you call me later. I'm not going to tell you email me it. I'm going to tell you the answer I have. I'm going to do it for you right now. All right, so one of the questions I have here is, tell us what percent of sales tax the city can implement and the percent is currently going to the city. Oh yeah, right now we get 2%. So that's how it works. So the city of Maricopa charges 2% sales tax. All the other sales taxes that you're getting, those sales taxes are county tax and county tax and state taxes. But 2% of it is what the city of Maricopa currently charges. I think we can go up a little bit more if we wanted to. We can go up 100% if we wanted to, but obviously not. Our goal is to actually bring that down over time. as you open more stores and more money is spent in the city of Maricopa, of course that means more revenue. So as more revenue comes in, we can either do one or two things. We can spend all of it, or we can lower the tax rate so that we're not overtaxing our citizens. The same with property taxes. The goal here is not to have a top rate. The goal here is to lower that rate time and time again. Just like last year when we lowered the property taxes for the city of Maricopa, the secondary property taxes. It allowed us because we had savings, and so we lower our taxes for it, usually. Some people think it's probably better just to spend more. That's not my opinion. My opinion is to lower the taxes as much as you can. All right, so the next question was 2% is good, Coolidge is like close to 10. Well, Gary, overall, we might be close to 8.6, I believe, total for the city of Maricopa. The 2% is the city's portion. Hey, Jerry, how's it going? Tom, welcome to the Facebook Live. Gary, thank you so much. He said, do the right thing and vote Vince. You know, there's a lot of people out here that are running for election, and as I said in the last Facebook Live that got canceled for this one that just started, anybody that's running, you deserve answers from them. You deserve to get the answers you need, because if you're not getting answers, how can you make a sensible, common sense decision about who should be your next city council member? I don't think you can. I think you need answers. All right, so Tom Ritchie joined, Jerry Pearls joined, a couple other people. Gary Lewis said, higher revenue stream will create lower taxation and time. If the city wants to maintain, let's say, $2 million sales tax revenue, and they're bringing in $3 million, they can then lower the tax rate to the citizen-friendly while still bringing in the goal amount. Exactly. As long as you're bringing in enough to pay for the services that people demand and the people are getting right now, then anything above that is extra. And hopefully we can cut rates when that starts happening. There's going to be a bunch of new development coming in. There's going to be Ross stores coming in, which is going to increase our revenue. We're probably going to increase our revenue about $400,000, $500,000 for 2019 based on all the new retail coming in. It's great. And that allows us to do the things that we need to do and then hopefully cut some taxes so that we can give money back. Is there a sales tax cap on what the city can impose? Bill, I'm going to tell you honestly, I'm not sure there's a cap. You know, I believe there's a cap because the citizens of Maricopa would shoot us if we went over what we're charging now. You know, our goal is to not go over the 2% sales tax. That is my goal. I will never, and I give you that promise today, I will never vote to raise the sales tax for the city of Maricopa, our tax rate, above the 2% for the sales tax. You know, there are half-cent sales taxes that go in for roads, and that's like county tax and things like that. So the county has taxes, the state has taxes. But the city of Maricopa tax at 2% is fine at where it is. I wish it was lower, but we'll get there. Let's see, Shannon Diaz joined. Hey Shannon, how you doing today? And I don't have any questions, so ask questions. It's important. One of the most important ways that you can help me and help any candidate is getting out there and helping them spread their word. So you'll see right here, this is a yard sign I have right here. I put yard signs up in people's houses right there. If you want a yard sign at your house, simply text me today your home address. My cell phone number, everybody has, I hope, but if you want it again, 602-373-9996. So again, 602-373-9996. Text me, tell me that you want a yard sign, and I'll put one in your yard probably this weekend. Another way to help is when you see these things around, share them with friends and family. This is called a rack card. A rack card tells you a little bit about me, right? So this one says trusted, experienced leadership. It says local Maricopa business owner. I own 2 businesses here in Maricopa. It says transportation, balanced budgets, economic development. I like this one down here. This one here says endorsed by Mayor Christian Price. Mayor Price has never endorsed anyone in the council races until this year. And he came out and he endorsed Henry Wade and myself because he knows we've been working hard for the city of Maricopa. And if anyone knows who's working and who's not working, who's giving 100% and who's not, it would be Christian Price. All right, so down here it also says all this stuff about me. See that? So it has a bunch of information about me, what I've been doing in the city of Maricopa. It used to be a lot less, but I put it in there because I want people to know I'm working. All right, so let's see. I got some questions. Maria Estrada Harris joined. Hi, Maria. How you doing? Becky Marie said, "What businesses do you own?" I'm a minority partner in Maricopa. It's a magazine here in the city of Maricopa. I bought a little percentage of that last year, and I work there as the advertising director. I also own a small home watch company, so I watch houses for people. It's called Sunbelt Home Watch. I probably have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 houses that we watch, my wife and we watch houses for winter residents. Those are the 2 businesses I own. I also drive Uber, so I have to file a Schedule C tax on that. Ugh. But I do that because I have 3 daughters. They're going to have to go to college, and it's not cheap to run for city council. It costs a lot of money. So if you want, go to vincentmanfredi.com, make a small donation, and help me so I don't have to drive Uber this weekend. All right, next one down is some cities raise sales tax for special projects at Sunset. Can that be done if voter approved, and does it only need council approval? There's 2 ways. I think you would want voter approval if you're going to do something like that. I believe, and I'm not 100%, so I'll come back to it and type if I'm wrong or not, but it happens. People are wrong sometimes. But I believe the council can raise it if they want, but I would prefer, if we were going to raise taxes, so sales taxes or any taxes really, I believe in voter approval for it. So yeah, I believe in voter approval if we're going to raise taxes. Hey Karen, how you doing tonight? Thank you for joining. If you have questions about anything going on in the city, feel free to ask them. Anybody have questions about this one? My daughters are very excited that Dutch Brothers is looking to come to Maricopa, and that's what's called economic development. By having businesses come to the city, it provides jobs, it keeps money in the city, it allows, especially not smaller companies, but lower wage jobs. So I know a lot of people are like, it's not the big job, it's not, the $100,000 job. I understand that. But what it does do, it gives our children and young adults, people in their teens and 20s and sometimes in your 30s, that need to learn a skill. It teaches them how to work with people, how to make change, how to do all that stuff, have responsibility and scheduling and all of that. These are jobs that are needed for that. Because I used to hire people a lot for call centers, and I got to tell you, it was kind of embarrassing at times when you hire somebody and they don't know a simple thing like how to dial a phone. And I know it sounds crazy, but an office phone is a lot different than a cell phone. And some of these kids were coming in 20 years old, 22 years old, in the company I worked for, and they didn't even know how to use a phone. So you had to teach them everything. So having the entry-level jobs that allow people to get some experience is important. So Dutch Brothers, Dunkin' Donuts, Ross, all those stores where they do have management positions, but the entry-level positions are very important to the city of Maricopa and to our students as well as our young adults. All right, I don't live in Arizona anymore, but I support Mr. Manfredi. Thank you, David. I wish you lived in Arizona. I need votes, right? But no, it's great that you still have that support for me, and thank you so much. If you have the ability, feel free to spread the word on social media. Feel free to talk to your friends that still live in Arizona and find ways that maybe you can help. And it's simple. Social media allows us to help with a lot of things. I hope people don't mind. I got my kids back here, right there. I got Abraham Lincoln up here and some stuff and cool things. I was told my wall is too blank. It was Paul. He came into my office and he said, your wall is too blank. You got to put some stuff up. So I went home, went to the office. I grabbed a couple of things and I put them up. Hopefully you think that looks okay. Jackie joined. Hi, Jackie. How you doing today? Any Little League stuff going on? I hope everybody is understanding that this is a precious time for the city of Maricopa. There's a lot of things that we have to get done, and experience and the ability to work with developers and all that stuff is very important. Henry Wade, one of my council members sits on the council with me. He wrote an article recently, and I've seen it in a couple places. And he wrote an article saying about stickiness, right? And stick-to-itness, I think he said was the exact part. And it's the ability for us to change things within the city of Maricopa, but the ability for us also to understand when things are going right, right? So it's important to be able to change and put new people in place, but it's also important to remember that institutional knowledge that people have is good. You know, the ability for me to work with people from around the county on CAG who I've built relationships with for the past 4 years is important, because when the RTA money is coming in and we have to work to ensure that the RTA money is spent on 347, it's important to have people that know other people in the city of in the county and the state. So right now in our election we have three seats open. We have 3 seats open. There's Henry Wade and myself are running for re-election, and there's 1 extra seat. So what I keep telling people is vote for myself, then pick your choices. I think Henry would be a great choice to stay on council. So at least 1 extra seat. And there's a bunch of good people running for that seat. So talk to them. Ask them questions. Show up at their meetings. Show up at their events. Show up at the, I think there's 2 town halls or debates, whatever they want to call them. There's 2 of those coming up. Show up at them. Don't just take what people write as gospel. Don't just take what people say and say, okay, that sounds good. Ask them questions and make them tell you what their true beliefs are on things. Right? Ask them about what they would do if, I don't know, a marijuana place wants to open up in the city of Maricopa. I think Bill asked me that question. Ask people what they would do if there was a law put in place to allow concealed carry weapons, and will they take it away? Ask those questions. It's important to know what your core beliefs are and how the people that you're going to vote to represent align with that. So align with your core beliefs and vote for people. All right, I think I have a question. No, I don't. But Michelle Chance is on. Brendan Howard's on. Hi, everybody. You know, you have to understand, when we work as a city, things work out well. When we fracture and we fight and we bicker, no matter where it is, things don't work out well. The luxury we have on city council is that we don't have to worry about things like partisan politics. We don't have to worry about those things. Now, there are some partisan issues, but there's not the problems that you see in Washington, D.C. are on the state level, where everybody votes a certain way and you can't change your minds. Here in the city of Maricopa, we have important things to do. One of those important things is transportation. You know, and the mayor says it well, and we've all been repeating it over the course of the last 4 years, 10 years, whatever it's, how long, 6 years, I think he's been in office. It's the potholes in Maricopa are not Republican potholes or Democrat potholes. The potholes that we have are just potholes, and they have to be fixed. So it's important to remember that although we believe in the way things are, right, or we believe in, or we have our own values and beliefs, right, a pothole is a pothole. So we have to understand we got to be able to fix and change. All right, so Kevin Martin, he got on there. Hi, Kevin, how you doing? He said, I tried commenting before, but it didn't go through. Yeah, Kevin, I do apologize. I started a Facebook Live, and I was on Wi-Fi, and for some reason, it kicked me off. So I had to start a new one, and I'm on cellular now, not the Wi-Fi. But I'd like to know what you feel we should do as a city that we aren't doing now to bring meaningful business investment to our community. More specifically, business investment that provides jobs that aren't retail, minimum wage, or construction. Look at our neighbor cities. Yeah, I do. I talk to our neighbor cities a lot. And I'm going to take a drink. I think that's a great question. What we need to do to bring investment to Maricopa that is not retail and not rooftops, right? Rooftops can't sustain a city, and retail can't sustain a city. It just can't happen. Unless you're in a city that has Mall of America in it, then sure, retail can maintain you with retail tax. But it can't here in the city of Maricopa. We don't have the retail, nor do we have the rooftops to support that retail. To support the tax base. That's why we have a high property tax. That's why we have a 2% sales tax. We need to lower those. The way to do that is, as Kevin says, we need to bring in industry. We need to bring in commercial development. The hard part about that is we in Maricopa have what's called empty land, right? So we have a ton of empty land. But the problem with our empty land is it has to be built up from the bottom. So it could cost an extra $2, $3, $4 million to build a warehouse space. Then it costs to go to Eloy, Coolidge, Casa Grande, Glendale, not Glendale, maybe they have a little bit less open space, but Phoenix, Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, Ahwatukee. They have storefronts and space available where people can move into it without having to build from the ground up. So we're at that disadvantage. Our other disadvantages are utilities. In a lot of our neighboring cities, like Casa Grande and others, they own their utilities. So they own the water company. So when Bob's Heating and Plumbing comes in and wants to build a 50,000 square foot building, right? And they have to do hookups to the water. What the city of Casa Grande or any other city can do is kind of divert the costs of that, to help with it, delay the cost. They can do a lot of stuff to help them, where we as the city of Maricopa can't. So again, two disadvantages now. Now we hit the third disadvantage, and that is the 347. The 347 is a 2-lane each way, 4-lane total highway that comes in and out of Maricopa, one way in, one way out. Unfortunately, we got to fix it. And how are we going to fix it? We're going to spend a whole lot of money to do it. So that's what the RTA did. It's going to give us a little over $28 million to fix part of it. We're going to have to work with MAG. We're going to have to work with Gila River. We're going to have to work with Maricopa County, Pinal County, Federal Highway, a lot of people to get it fixed. But once the 347 is fixed, even better. Now, that's years from now. So how do we bring people here today? Again, very hard. So what we need to understand is it might not be sensible to try and bring Amazon or whoever it is to Maricopa. What it is possible to do is to grow the next Amazon from Maricopa. Hope that makes sense. What I mean is simple. We have space. We have some development ability to build on that space using our space and someone else's money to build a building. It's called a public-private partnership. A public-private partnership allows us to lease the land or keep the land, right? They build on it, a developer builds on it, and then the lease rates are cheap and comparable to what you'll see elsewhere. That allows small businesses in the city of Maricopa, what is it, there's 300-400 home-based businesses in the city of Maricopa, like Brandon Designs, like Home is Where the Hound Is, and a lot of those different companies. They can then hire people, move into a space first, hire people, do more. So Brandon Howard, he can actually buy more equipment, hire more people, and then ship products all around the country. That allows him to expand and bring in workers. It allows people like Ship Freight, who was in the city of Maricopa. They had a small office right here in my building. They had a small office, but it was too small. But they needed something bigger, and there was nothing available in the city of Maricopa. If we had that here, they would be able to bring their employees back from Casa Grande where they went. They live here. And I know Diana would like to live here. I know Peter would like to work here. Avoid the drive. But there was no place for them to do it. So what we need to do is help the people like Brendan Howard, help the people like Peter, help the people like Diana and Kimberly and everyone else that wants to grow their business from where it is to where it can be. And I don't want them leaving Maricopa to go to Casa Grande to do it, or leaving Maricopa to go to Chandler or Ahwatukee to do it. So what we need to do is pull down the low-hanging fruit. Those are the small-based businesses in Maricopa that are ready to expand, and give them a place to do that. That's co-working space, that's light industrial space, that's commercial space, and that's going to happen at the Estrella Gin, and I'm doing my best to make that happen. We are, as a council, doing our best to make that happen. So I hope that answers your question. You know, it's not really attracting people from outside to come. We'll try, and we'll keep doing that. What it really is helping the people that are here grow here. Hope that answered, Kevin. All right, so Glenn Morrison joined. Bill Robertson joined and said, is Apex dead? Bill, no. There's one more lawsuit, and that's the only thing holding it up. I expect the lawsuit to be done in the next month or so, as far as I'm told. And then Apex will have a ribbon cutting probably within the next couple months, maybe 4 months, 5 months. Apex is not dead. Apex is alive and kicking, and they will be here, and they will be able to grow the city and its tax base. You know, I look up at the counter on my phone here, and it says there's currently 6 people watching. And then on my computer, I'm going to pull it down for you, okay? I'm going to pull it down. So I'm getting on my soapbox, so I hope people don't get too mad at me. See that? Know what that says, right? It says in 67 days. 67 days. And it's a counter. Keep on top of my computer. In 67 days, Maricopa makes an important decision. Not just for city council, but for the state legislature, for constable, for justice of the peace. Nah, Lyle's got nobody running against him. But all the way up to our senators. In 67 days. See it? 67 days, we're going to make important decisions. And I'm sitting here on a Facebook Live giving anyone the ability to ask any questions they want. Anything. And I have 9 people watching. I don't get it. If we're here to serve, talk to us. Talk to the people that want to run for city council, that want to run for your state legislature. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Ask them what they did for Maricopa, what they do for Maricopa, and what they will do for Maricopa. You know, it's so important to understand that we have right now the ability to simply change whatever we want in our country, and especially on the local level. So you have to get involved. All right, Kevin said, I absolutely agree that investing in local small business is an important facet of the comprehensive plan to build business growth in Maricopa. I'm more looking for an answer to what the long-term strategy for growth to our city and what we're doing to eliminate the hurdles you mentioned. I also like to thank you for taking the time to answer my questions and share your platform with anyone willing to listen. Thanks, Kevin. There's a couple steps, right? Just last year, we passed the Pinal RTA, so Regional Transit Authority. So what that means is the RTA, I serve on the RTA board, the RTA is going to allow us to expand to 347, right? But we have to work with others, Maricopa County, Pinal County, City of Maricopa, Gila River Indian Community, which is important, and we have to work with Federal Rail, ADOT, and we have to also work with MAG. MAG is going to be the glue that holds it all together. So it's Maricopa Association of Governments. They're currently working on a study. It should finish up in a little less than 18 months. They've been doing it for 2 months, so what are you talking? 16 months from now. We'll have a study that tells us exactly what needs to be done on the 347, including overpasses and all of that. Now everybody says, why wasn't that study started years ago? Well, the RTA is helping to fund that study. So that's the problem. We needed money, and now we have some money, and now we're studying the 347, and I know, I hate studies, believe me. I vote against them all the time on city council when I'm sitting at the dais. If you watch the meetings, you'll see when studies come up, I'm like, no more studies. So we have a lot of them. But this is an important one. This study is going to allow us to understand how the 347 can change to help us as a city. So 1, 347. So you asked how we're going to change it. 2, East-West Corridor. The East-West Corridor is going to connect us to the city of Maricopa with 2 more lanes on Casa Grande Highway, and then a parkway out of, I forgot the name of the road. How do I forget that? Val Vista, sorry. So a parkway out of Val Vista Road. So Val Vista Road will go straight through to the 10. Now, it doesn't really speed up the 347, but what it could do is pull some of the traffic off the 347, allowing us to have another entrance or exit from the city of Maricopa, but also connecting us to the jobs that are going to be available with Lucid Motors, and I don't know if it ever happens or not, but Phoenix Smart and different jobs that are happening in Casa Grande. So really what it does is it connects us. It gives us that loop connecting Maricopa and Casa Grande. So that right there, that's step 2, right? So those happen together. 347 probably in 5 years, maybe 6. The East-West Corridor, a little longer than that. And then, of course, we're working on, by talking to federal government, talking to everyone that can listen, and funding through the through the RTA, the I-11. The I-11 corridor is going to come up, we hope, on the Hacienda Freeway study, which is right outside the west of town, about 2 miles out of town. And what that will do is allow us to have an exit on an interstate freeway going from Mexico all the way up through to Las Vegas. That right there gives us freeway access. So these are all things that we're juggling as your city council today. These are things where I go to Washington, D.C. to talk to federal transportation. And I go to D.C. to talk to our senators and our congressmen. And I work with them and understand, we meet with them all. And Mayor Price goes, and the last one, it was Nancy Smith and Henry Wade and Julia Gussie. We all take turns going out there so that we can talk to our representatives in Washington to bring money to Maricopa to help us with transportation. That is our number 1 problem, is transportation. Number 2, flooding. So the lower Santa Cruz flows up from Mexico. So it's kind of weird, right? It flows north. Everybody thinks rivers flow south. But the lower Santa Cruz River, what happens is it starts in Arizona, dips down to Mexico, turns around in Mexico, and then flows up north to the city of Maricopa, and then empties onto the Gila River. Historically, that's the flow. What we need to do is bring in $500 million about through FEMA, not through FEMA, but from Army Corps of Engineers, as well as the federal government, to allow us to fix the floodplain area. So if you look at the city of Maricopa, I wish I had the map. I left it in my car. But the floodplain takes up a big swath of the center of the city. That floodplain doesn't allow us to build anything in the area. So floodplain issues have to be fixed before we can build a lot in the center part of the city, kind of like where City Hall is. We spent money to lift City Hall out of the floodplain. So everything around City Hall is sort of wasted land right now for development. 4th phase is understanding that our networking and ability to work with MAG as well as GPEC and other organizations like META throughout the valley helps us to bring our story to the valley and understand companies that are looking for that empty space, that are looking for the educated workforce, have a place to come. So there are steps we're taking. We're fixing transportation. We're going to fix our flood problems. We're going to always market ourselves. So when you look at it, that's the steps we're taking so that we have a comprehensive solution to bringing business to Maricopa. It's not enough to say, I will bring business. How? So I'm going to tell you how, and that's it. It's fix transportation issues, fix the flooding issues, and make it easier for businesses to come here and grow by attracting them and then saying the word yes to them. Because I believe there's no worse way to hurt economic development within a city than to say the word no. When a company like Dutch Brothers wants to come to Maricopa, we can't sit there and say, no, that's not possible because of flooding issues. When Circle K wants to open up on Honeycutt, we can't say, no, you can't do that. We have to make sure that we have the words yes in our vocabulary. So it's yes, we can do it, and this is how we can do it. Not no, can't be done. It's yes, this is how. And the steps that are need to be taken to get it done. And that's what I do. You know, when Rusty Acres was having problems setting up, working with his church, right? And if you notice down on Honeycutt, across from the high school, all that work is happening. There were some problems. There were some code issues and things like that. So they came to me, and Nancy Smith and I, Councilmember Smith and I, worked with the city to help that happen. So if you're a developer, if you're a small business owner, if you have a problem in the city of Maricopa, pick up your phone, call me directly. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can call me on my personal cell phone, 602-373-9996. You can call me on my city phone. You can email me. You can do whatever you want to get in touch with me, and I'll be there to help you out. Just ask Rusty Acres. Just ask anyone that comes to me and asks me for help with what they're building and what they're trying to do in the city of Maricopa. I'm available. I answer the phone, even at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Ask my wife. And I answer questions for people, and then I work to get them the solutions they need. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Kevin, but if it didn't, ask me and clarify what you need, and I'll clarify it for you. Brett Roberts said hello to everyone. Hello, Brett. Bill Roberts said a hotel update. Bill, you know, there's stories about hotels that I can tell you, and but hotels are working to come to Maricopa. But it's hard, right? Because what did I mention earlier is bringing it out of the ground in the city of Maricopa is expensive. And then you have to have the ability to keep it full. When my brother visits me one day, I'm going to make him stay in a hotel just because I want to keep it full. I seen him on, so it was a joke. But what we need to do is understand that everybody says Harris just added 300 rooms. Why would we need a hotel in Maricopa? Because Harris wants a hotel in Maricopa. Harris wants a hotel here just as bad as I do. And I know that because I've spoken to the president over there. I've spoken to them and said, what do you want? And they said a hotel. They would like 1 or 2 hotels. And our goal here is to get one here in the city of Maricopa that allows us to get the bed tax and everything. I believe there's 2 places that a hotel is going to happen. It's either going to happen at Copper Sky, where we're looking at an RSOQ to develop Copper Sky as a development, or it's going to happen, I believe, the other place would be by where Fast and Friendly Car Wash is, next to the post office. There's a huge lot of land where Dutch Brothers is going, behind that. So on that big plot of land, so that would be an anchor for that plot of land. So when I look at it, those are the 2 places that I believe a hotel is going to happen, and I believe it's going to happen probably within the next 24 months. I believe a hotel is going to be in the city of Maricopa. Rich Harris said, where's my sign? Rich, I was going to bring the sign by the other day, but then I was with Brett Roberts, and I know you don't want his sign, so I didn't want to make Brett feel bad. Sorry. I will bring a sign by this weekend, and I know you want Brett's too. And then Glenda Olson Skimkus, Possible Hospital. Is it Skimkus? Possible Hospital. No. I'm going to tell you, and I hate saying it. I really do. I hate saying the word. But hospitals are private businesses. Hospitals right today are losing money hand over fist. So unfortunately, no. I so wish. If I had $1 billion, I'd build a hospital. I'd lose the money, but I'd build the hospital. But I just don't have that money. The city of Maricopa has a $40 million budget. We don't have the money to build a hospital. And people say, but I came from a town that had 15,000 people and they have a hospital. Yeah, it was probably built in the 40s. It was probably built with municipal bonds. It was probably been there forever, and then maybe 20. And then a corporation probably came in and bought it, and now it's a bigger hospital. But when you look at it, in the state of Arizona, Banner can't build any more hospitals, right? The government stops them for building now because it's competition, monopolies, and all that. Dignity owns the land currently behind Starbucks, but it's for sale. So when I look at it, our best hope is something along the lines of a trauma center at the Banner Health facility behind Walmart. I think that's our best choice and our best hope, because that gets them close enough to the Banner facility in Casa Grande. When Casa Grande Highway opens up with Val Vista, it gives them a quicker way to the city of Casa Grande. But we still need that trauma center here for when someone has a heart attack. I'm a little overweight. It'll happen eventually. Or someone has an issue, breaks a leg or whatever it is. So what we need to do is find a way to fix that problem. And then Jessica just sent Banner's building a hospital in Chandler. That hospital was started, its planning, and started going very long ago. So about 10, 12 years ago, the planning for that hospital started. And it's like half a mile away from one of their current hospitals. Kind of weird. But that hospital was started long, long ago. So when I talk to people in the hospital industry, that's what they tell me. There's no money to build. There's no money to be made. And since they're private institutions, they're not going to do it. So I wish I can sit here and say, I'm going to bring a hospital. I'd be lying. I can say, I can continue talking to people in the hospital industry and asking them, let's go, come on, we need it, and telling them these things. But based on the conversations I personally had with people in the hospital industry, it's not going to happen in the city of Maricopa for the foreseeable future. Our goal now is really to pivot and hope to bring a high-performing trauma center that can treat, stabilize, and then bring to a hospital that's going to help us. All right, Banner's building. All right, Bill Robertson said, speaking of municipal bonds, does the city have any outstanding bonds soon to be paid off? Soon to be paid off? No. Do we have existing? Yes. And those existing bonds were voted by the people in 2008 to build Copper Sky and other stuff within the city. So it was basically put in place to build libraries, parks, and Copper Sky, which is the park, City Hall, stuff like that. City Hall is 100% paid off. We bought City Hall with cash. We did not bond out for that. Our land is paid off. What we do have a bond on is Copper Sky, which costs about $60 million to build, and that bond will be paid back. I can't tell you the full time frame. I think it's another 10 to 12 years, I think. What we did, though, is smartly, 3 years ago, we escalated some payments that allowed us to pay down some of the debt that was due, and it lowered our interest rate, which means that over the course of the bond, we're going to pay about $1 million less. I think it was $1 million or $800,000. I might be a little off, but it allows us to pay less over the course of the bond by paying a little bit more over here. So what we did is we raised our secondary property tax, paid off a chunk of it, and now it went down on the interest rate, and then we lowered the tax rate so we keep steady, if that makes sense. But yeah, we do have some bonds, and they are outstanding, but they will be paid as we pay them normally. Kevin said, I appreciate your insight into what's going on and what's planned for our future. I agree that transportation is the biggest issue here for both resident commuting as well as business access. I'm relatively new here, 2016, so I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions. Kevin, I personally don't care if you moved here yesterday. I'm going to answer your questions. I answer questions. That's what I do. When you ask a question of me, you're going to get an answer. Sometimes, like Glenda asked, it's not going to be an answer you want, but it's going to be the answer. And I'm going to try 100% to always be factual. I could be wrong at times, but what I'm looking at is I personally live here. I live in Maricopa. I want Maricopa to grow. I want to see everything you want to see in the city of Maricopa. I want it too. So I study. I talk to people. I attend P&Z meetings and council meetings and all the meetings I can. Even though I'm on council, I still attend other meetings in the city of Maricopa because I want to know what's going on. I work with nonprofits like the Little League to come in and sit down and talk to me and talk about what struggles they're having so I can try and help them fix it. I talk to people like Priscilla, who works with Be Awesome Youth Coalition, to give them the ability to talk to a council member and say, I need help with something. I help different organizations in the city of Maricopa, like the Streets Don't Love You Back, to help them bring school supplies because it's needed. So all those little things that some people think are a waste of time sometimes, I do them during the week, during the day, during the weekend, at night. If it's a night in Maricopa, if it's after 6, and Henry Wade taught me this one, if it's 6 o'clock and you're not at a meeting, you're missing something, right? Or if you're not at a meeting, or even if you're at a meeting, you're missing 2 others. So just be out there and talk to people, and that's what I try and do. So any questions, I try and answer. All right. Jessica Truckner said, I'm in the hospital industry, and you are right. Thank you, Jessica. I'm going to consider you as one of my sources then in the hospital industry to tell when I talk to people and say it's just not happening now. Doesn't mean it will never happen, just not right now. D. Marquez, what happened to the bus that used to go downtown Phoenix? It's gone. The bus was very expensive to run, and it did not get the people on it that wanted to use it. It was gone well before I got on council. I think it was 2012, if I might be right there. I think it was 2012, something like that, where the council decided not to have it anymore. Because at times we had this huge bus that seats for 50, and there was 3 people on it taking it to Phoenix. It wasn't feasible, and we were losing money. And to be good fiduciaries of your money, we can't do it. Now, I wish we can partner with Valley Metro. They're not interested. They do the van rides, so that's good. But to bring a bus, it's not going to happen anytime soon unless there's a groundswell of support for it by the people of Maricopa who then use it. So here's an example. Here's a great way to make it happen. Talk to your council members. Tell them you want it, right? Then talk to people at Valley Metro. Send emails and stuff. Tell them you want it. Then let us talk to them, work together, and see if it's possible. I personally, and I know it's not what people want to hear, I personally don't believe it's going to happen. I personally believe that people don't want to give up the freedom of driving their own car. Now, there are people that use carpools, but again, it's their freedom. So they can drive their own car in a carpool, 4 or 5 people going up. And then there's Valley buses, and Intel has a bunch of them. So if you're on a shift at Intel, you can get on one of these vans, so van rides, and go up. So there's a lot of ways that you can do stuff. What we do have in the city of Maricopa is a route that goes around the city. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but there's a van that drives around the city, and for 50 cents, you can go from like Maricopa Meadows to CAC. Simple. It's 50 cents. And it just drives a circle around the city. And then we have, during the summer, we have a bus, a small bus, a van really, that goes to every one of the schools and picks up people and takes them to Copper Sky. So if your kids want to go to Copper Sky, there's a bus that does that. Just go to, I'll drop them, they walk to the school in their community. At the school, a bus picks them up and drives them around. It's called the Comet. And then we do have demand service. So if you're sick, you need to go to the doctor, you have appointments, you need to go to the hospital up in Chandler or in Casa Grande, we have services for that. So all you do is you call up the day before or 24 hours before, you make an appointment, they come to your house, they pick you up, literally not really pick you up, but they get you in a van. If you have a wheelchair, it has wheelchair accessibility, and then they drive to the hospital and take you there and then bring you home. I think it's $2, I believe, but there's that availability. It might be $3. I'm in the hospital industry. You're right. What happened to the bus? There you go. D. I hope that answered your question. If you have more, ask them. Ask them. Sorry. My bad New Jersey accent came out there. Jessica Trucker says, do you know if the Circle K that was planned for the corner of Porter and Honeycutt has been relocated? No, it's not relocated. It's going there. First, they didn't do a sign permit. They didn't renew their sign permit, so their sign came down. I don't know. They don't want to pay $200 to put a sign up. Then the next problem there is flooding. So if you go there by that area, and you'll see on Honeycutt, there's a big culvert sort of, and it floods, right? So if there's a flood, that's supposed to flood. But what happens is they have to find a way, and it's all taken care of. I believe now it's done, but they have to find a way to bring that flooding through under Porter back into the culvert, back into the other side, and then flow out. So that's taken care of. So flooding was an issue. The sign's not there because of sign permit. And then the other issue was sprinklers. So that property does not sit in where Global Water Services. So they had to come to an agreement with Global to put sprinklers and things like that. So that's in the Seven Ranchers Water District, I believe it's called. So it had to be worked out so that the sprinklers can be put in. So that's the three things that held up Circle K, and it's all on track right now, and you should see it soon enough. But that's what was holding up Circle K. All right. Let's see. Karina joined. Hey, Karina. How you doing? I got 10 people on. One of you has to have a question. So please ask the question. I'm not going to say anything till you do. Oh, cool. Drainage is friendlier than flooding. Just saying. Yeah. So yeah, drainage had to be taken care of, and if not, flooding would happen. So that's what had to happen. It's okay. Okay, thank you. Can't wait for that. No problem, Jessica. And then Kevin said, I hope they break ground soon. I can't wait. You know what? When Circle K over by my house, I live in the Meadows, so it's right down by my house. When Circle K was planned there, and they said, Circle K is coming, so many people, right, got all crazy. They were like, there's a Circle K already by Bash's, and there's a Circle K in the Heritage District. Why do we need another Circle K? And everybody got upset. Drive by that Circle K. Now, the one of them closed, so that's fine. One of them closed off. So one of them is shut down, the one by Heritage District, and it's really cool because now we have a car dealership there. Great stuff. But, and that brings me back to what I said before, buildings, right? When you have a building that's old and sitting there, somebody's going to come in and do something in it. And Maricopa Auto Outlet came in, boom, car dealership. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, so Circle K over there, drive over there one day. If you haven't been, it is packed 24/7, cars getting gas, people buying drinks, and it serves Copper Sky well. So yeah, Circle K on Porter and Honeycutt is probably going to be one of the busiest places in the city of Maricopa, besides Dutch Brothers. So tell me, I don't have any questions, so tell me, what do you want to see in the city of Maricopa? What would you like to see get built here? We have about another half hour or so. So ask your questions. Tell me what you want to see. Fine, I guess I can talk. I am a politician, right? The minute you run for anything, you become a politician, whether you believe it in yourself or not. So I like to tell people I'm not a politician. I'm just a guy doing a bunch of work. But yeah, I got to run for office. So I got to sit here and ask for your vote. GSP. I don't know what GSP is. What is that? I'd like to see a Peter Piper pizza. Before we moved here, I talked to my wife and I said to her, what would happen, what Maricopa needs, this is before Ultrastar, it's before the second and third McDonald's, it's before many of the pizza places. I said to my wife, what Maricopa needs is a Peter Piper pizza. And I looked into it, and believe it or not, at that time, someone owned the franchise for the city of Maricopa, for Peter Piper Pizza. It's just never been built because we had that huge crash and nothing got built. So I don't know if somebody still owns it, but call Peter Piper Pizza, talk to them, see if somebody owns it. Talk to them and send them messages on Facebook. Send them messages on Twitter and Instagram. Take pictures of dirt lots in the city of Maricopa on the 347 and say, a Peter Piper Pizza would look good here. By ginning up that interest, we get them. It's kind of what we did with, everybody wanted a Chipotle, and I was like, email Chipotle, text Chipotle, tag them on stuff and say, we need it in Maricopa. It happened a couple years after it. So when you want something, ask for it. You know, one of the biggest things is when Ross was a rumor of Maricopa, what I told people to do and what I did myself is I tagged them in Facebook posts and I tagged them in Twitter posts and I put them on Instagram and I did things like that that showed them we had an interest in them being here. Sorry, I shouldn't hit the microphone. And from that, it grows the interest within corporate, it grows the interest within the development community, and you got to ask for things you want. If you don't ask, it won't come. They're not going to just drive down to 347 one day and look at dirt lot. You have to tell them that you want it. And when you keep telling them, that's when they take interest in you. It's why we go to conventions called the ICSC. And what that means is it's the International Council of Shopping Centers. What we do is we go to these things and we spend time and you talk to all these businesses and you show them your stats and you say $75,000 is our average income in the city of Maricopa, family income. The highest in Pinal County. We tell them we got 50,000 people, we're going to have 60,000 people at the next census. We tell them we have highly educated people that live here. We tell them all that stuff. And then we wait. So Burger King has been trying to move to Maricopa for 10 years. Dunkin' Donuts, I know it's like 8 to 10 years they've been thinking about Maricopa. We need to talk to the development community as community members. I do it. When I text, I don't say, hey, I am a council member, please bring in Dutch Brothers. I text a Starbucks in my hand and says, I wish I could get a Dutch Brothers here or something to compete. Because I like both. I like going to Dunkin' Donuts, or all of them. Crate Coffee. I like going to Honeycut Coffee, which is right up the block for me. I get my lunch there. But I want everything here. Because competition is the lifeblood of this country, and it allows us to grow. Makes sense, I hope. Black Bear Diner. I've never been. It's up in Chandler, I believe, right? There's a couple of them probably. But when IHOP comes, maybe that'll help too. Because Denny's grows, IHOP comes, and then maybe Black Bear Diner will say, hey, there's a place for us too. Juan is watching. How you doing, Juan? Let's see. Desiree said In-N-Out. My daughter was wearing an In-N-Out t-shirt we bought. And I told somebody that she works at In-N-Out jokingly today. I think it was Jim Nicholson I told. And he's like, is In-N-Out coming here? I'm like, no. As far as I know, they have no plans to move here yet. But you never know. There's one in Casa Grande. And they have 50,000 people. Maybe we can get it too. Karen said, bring Teakwards back. When I first moved here, Teakwards was here. It was Ramsey's, then Teakwards. And I used to love the burger that came on the pretzel bun. Man, it was so good. And it had some jalapeno in it. It was really good. They're gone. They didn't last the recession, sadly. The rents were too high. Plaza Bonita's in that spot now, and if you haven't had an opportunity, Plaza Bonita is a local company. When I say that, I mean local workers. They strive to help you out. Stop in there and try out their food, because keeping people working that live in Maricopa is very important. What else you got here? Jessica Truckner just said we're getting an IHOP. I didn't say that. I said when an IHOP comes. Eventually. I figure they will. Over in Edison Point, there's a national breakfast chain looking at that spot. So there's not many national breakfast chains. But there is one looking at the corner lot of Edison Point where Ross is and Burger King and that. So it's my guess, and rumor is it's IHOP. So maybe. Let's see. Jessica. Just an LOL. But anytime you guys need anything, I'm happy to answer. Karen said we love Plaza Veneta. Matt loves the portions. It is pretty big. You know where pretty good portions. What I like also is a Royal Grill. Have you tried that? It's not in city limits technically. It's on Achin land. But a Royal Grill is pretty good. And then for breakfast, and they do a good job. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of fat. I eat everywhere. So if they bring a restaurant here, I'm probably going to eat there eventually. Yeah, my wife loves to eat out. So yeah, I'll eat everywhere. I don't think there's any place I don't like to eat. Popeyes, I like Popeyes. They got good chicken. Waffle House, no. I haven't heard anything about Waffle House, but that'd be pretty cool. I tried grits the first time at a Waffle House while driving to Arizona to move here. And I gotta tell you, I don't like grits. But anyway. Alright, Brett's back in and looking, of course. Oh, he's the one that said Waffle House. Bill Robinson at Email Black Bear and Tractor Supply both replied with, "We will check it out." And that's what we need to do. Email them. Tractor Supply just opened up in Casa Grande. So if they see working there, it's possible for us to happen here. Cafe Rio, I've never been. I'll have to try it out. You know, one of the places I like to go in the city of Maricopa is headquarters. Because when you go to headquarters and you order a breakfast, they give you this something like about this size of bacon. They kind of just like put a bunch of bacon on a plate and they fry it up. God, it's so good. Don't tell my wife. Between you and I. But it's so good. So I like to go there for breakfast too. Alright, I got, what do I got? Like 10 people watching right now, 11 people watching. Somebody's got to have a question, substantial question for me to answer. When people ask me, what have you done for Maricopa? I kind of point to this card. And if you notice, it's a bunch of small letters. And everybody tells me you shouldn't have that much stuff. Some people say crap, right? Shouldn't have that much stuff on the back of your rack card that you hand out to people. But my problem is, I want people to know what I've been doing. It's important to me. So the first thing here, let's just go down to the middle somewhere here. It's Maricopa Historical Society member and volunteer. So before I was on council, I volunteered with the Maricopa Historical Society, putting up signs at their golf events or whatever they needed. Anytime Brenda Campbell calls, I run. Anytime Paul calls, I'll do. It says Maricopa Pantry volunteer. Jim Schoaf works really hard in this city. And if he needs a hand picking something up, making a delivery, he knows he can call it. And I'm helping. It's what I do. It says multiple small business owner. As I said earlier, I own part of a minority owner in Maricopa. And I own a small home watch company also. I also drive Uber, which is technically a small business. But I drive that on the side to pay for this campaign and for hopefully the kids going to college. I served on the zoning rewrite committee, and that was a committee that took 18 months to take our zoning code that was antiquated, and it was basically a copy of Pinal County's zoning code, and we just made it our own back when we became a city. So years ago, 2013 or so, we had to fix it. We had to change it. We had to update it to be our zoning code, and we did that. So what we did is we took 18 months to rewrite our zoning code that allows us to be more competitive, as I said earlier, with the neighboring cities so that we can do things in the city of Maricopa with some of the empty land. All right, I got some questions. Delicious. I don't know which one was delicious or not. All right, so Bill said, explain the huge planning boundary beyond the city limits and how does that work? All right, so where we live in the city of Maricopa today is probably, what, 5% of our planning area. Let that sink in for a minute. The houses we have today, the businesses we have today, the incorporated area of Maricopa is so tiny compared to our planning area. Our planning area goes south to the hill, to the Achin Indian community, and goes north to the Gila River Indian community. And then outside on the east side of our city, it skirts down and around, right? So that's city limits. Still comes down and around, down by Anderson Road. Still city limits. We just rezoned it for some development. Then Anderson Road, straight down to the 8, right? So it doesn't go all the way to the 8, but you kind of swerve around a little bit. But all that land, all the way down to the not the 8, I'm sorry, the 84. All that land down to the 84, where headquarters is, not headquarters, Raceway, where Raceway is, where all this farmland is, where the development was supposed to happen by Raceway and didn't happen, like an old, ghost town down there, and some of the no houses were built, but it was like the roads and everything for development. All of that is the planning area of Maricopa. So that means that eventually, all of that could be part of our city limits. Now, put that in your head for a minute. Right now, small where we are, it could go all the way down to that planning area. So we have in mind at all times our planning area. So when we talk about the I-11 coming up through the west of town, that means all that planning area probably starts construction, probably starts doing things. I heard a rumor, and it's a pretty good rumor, that some of those houses down by Raceway are going to start getting built soon. So when you look at it, all of that will be part of Maricopa one day. Think of it as Santan, right? Unincorporated area, got some houses. And then north of Santan is, what's it called? Queen Creek, right? Queen Creek is kind of incorporating some of Santan now. But before, it was sort of in a planning area. So, that's probably not the best example. I'm sorry. If you look at just Maricopa itself, right? Maricopa was before it became a city, it was that little area, the Heritage District, and the rest of it was kind of like a planning area. So when we became a city, that whole entire portion became part of our city. So I hope that explains it. But eventually, the goal would be to grow beyond what we currently have. And the way to do that is through the east of town, right past the Achin community and down below. All right, so let me go up a little bit. And it says, love Jim. Thanks, Monica. I love him too. He's a good guy. Somebody was trying to call me. Ed Michael was trying to call me. Ed, don't call me. I'm on the phone. So he said, how is a bridge going to help? I'm not sure what bridge. Do you mean the overpass? Because if you mean the overpass, it's going to help us immensely. There's developers that look at the property south of the railroad tracks like that. They're like, not touching it. They don't want to be bothered with the railroad tracks. So once the overpass goes in, right, over the railroad tracks, it allows development to open up south of the railroad tracks. So it's really going to help us a lot. It's going to help us develop some of the empty land down there. It's going to help us to develop Copper Sky. Where the mud run is, I believe that's where we're going to have a hotel. It helps us develop all that area down south, if that makes sense. What control does the city have in planning area? Do codes apply? The city has really no control in a planning area right now. So if they want to build down by Raceway, they go to the county and get the county to approve whatever they're doing. So we don't have much, if any, control. What it means is a place like Casa Grande can't come in and take the land. So there's just some legal maneuvering to it. But that's all. It's just what we plan our future to be. That's all that means. It has nothing in terms of us doing the development there. Desiree said yes. So I hope I answered your question. The overpass is going to have huge implications for the south part of Maricopa. I'm drinking Coke Zero. Thirsty. All right. So Desiree said yes. Any other questions that are coming up? I see. I'm getting a whole bunch of private messages. I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting texts. But in reality, I can't answer those because I'd have to close screens and all that stuff. So they pop up and they go away. So I apologize if you're texting me questions. Jump on the live feed and ask them. You know, there's on social media, people talk a whole bunch of crap about me. They say some stuff that I don't know, I don't get it. But they don't come here and ask the questions. So come here, ask me questions. You'll get an answer from me. So I don't know. You know, the funniest part is when you run for public office, everything you do and everything you say is out there. You know, when you make a stupid comment, it's out there. When you buy something, it's out there. It's crazy. So you have to understand that we do so much that we can to be open. That's what I'm trying to say. We do so much to be open and transparent. So if you have questions for me, ask them. I know Henry, he answers questions to the best he can, same as me. I know Christian Price is going to answer your questions, and Peg's going to answer your questions, and Julie is going to answer your questions, and Marvin's going to answer your questions. So the current council is going to answer your questions. What you have to do is look at the people that are trying to replace Peg, or myself, or Henry, right? Because they're looking for any of those three spots. Look at them, talk to them, ask them questions, and see what they say. It's kind of important. You know, see if they understand what a flood control is, a flood basin is. See if they understand what the transportation issues are that Maricopa faces. You know, somebody might say to you, we got to fix 347. And you're going to nod and say, yeah, we do. Ask them how. Ask them how they plan to fix 347. They'll say, we need to improve education. Ask them how. Because when I told you 4 years ago, I would help to improve education in the city of Maricopa, I did. Now, as a city council member, I can't, right? I can't improve education as a city council member. Two different government agencies. But what I did is I worked on my time, my private time, to work with the school district to bring 50 teachers to the district, brand new teachers. I brought $500,000 in technology funding to the district. I brought to the district the ability to have a secondary high school that allows for kids that are credit deficient to graduate with their friends. To graduate from high school instead of getting a GED, instead of dropping out. Because we know that if you have a high school diploma, your ability to succeed in this country is better. So we needed to keep kids in school. So I worked with the school district to do that. I asked the people of Maricopa to help me with it, and they said yes. So when people say they want to improve education, ask them how. When people say they want to work with the school to do anything, ask them how they're going to do that. Because it's not good enough to say I'm going to do something. Ask how. That's what's important. All right, so are they going to put a light on Honeycutt and 347? I just asked that question yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Of Bill, who's our public works guy. And do you mean Honeycutt and 347 by where they pull down the building there, El Roca? No, there won't be a light there right now the way it's currently, but there's going to be a light a little further. And when the overpass goes through, the overpass goes up and over a little bit to the east of that current intersection. So that current intersection is going to change. So there'll be lights and different things and a full interchange there. So it'll be pretty cool. What do you mean, where's my wedding ring? It's right here. I wear my wedding ring. Come on. I always wear it. Here's a quick story. My wedding ring, people pay thousands of dollars for these things. I paid $90. I bought my wedding ring at the Hawaiian or Polynesian Festival in Tempe, Arizona. And it's tungsten. So I work on the car, I work on the motorcycle, I scratch it, I do anything to it. It never gets a chip or a scratch. Tungsten. Beautiful thing. Hard metal. Anyway. Are they going to put a light at Honeycutt and 347? There's going to be a whole interchange at Honeycutt and 347. My question, though, was when's the light going to come at Honeycutt and White and Parker? And right now we're at the tipping point of probably needing one. I'd say in the next 12 to 18 months we're probably going to need one there based on the construction happening in Sorrento and Tortosa and the traffic flow. Global water is always an issue. The rates are so high. Glenda, that's not a question. But I'm going to answer it. Yes, they are an issue. Yes, rates are high. But thankfully, we were able to stop their rate increases. So we've kind of held them in place right now. And here's a cool thing, is that there's a new tax structure that happens for water companies, private ones. So they're able to save some money over the next couple of years, 10 years. And some of that money will go towards keeping our rate lower than going up. So I believe that's going to happen, which is a good thing. It is on my left hand. This is my left hand. See? Left. L. Shape of an L. I don't know. But it is my left hand. So it is my left hand. Desiree, if you have any other questions, let me know. Glenda, if you have any questions. Bill, any questions for me, ask them. Ed Michael, if you were listening, Ed, what's your question? Ask it here. I see that you left me a voicemail. And I see that Moshe Klein and Pat Larison were sending me some messages. Guys, ask the questions. Oh, Vince, your camera is reversed. Oh yeah, I see it now on my screen. Everything in behind me is reversed. All right, hold on. Left hand. Sorry. When we had technical issues before, I turned the camera on and hit the button, so I apologize. I could turn it around, but we're way too into it now. Thanks, Glenn. Oh, since nobody's asking me questions, there's a couple things back here. This right here, right? That is the best of the best of 2015 and 2016 Volunteer of the Year for Maricopa Unified School District. So when people say they're going to help with the school district, I have, right? Volunteer of the Year. Up there is Business of the Year for the Chamber of Commerce. Right here is the Chairman's Award, awarded to people who work out there helping other candidates win elections. So all that stuff up there is kind of important. It shows that you're out there working. And a friend of mine said, it looks like you put it up there just for the live. I did. My wall used to be empty. And the last live, if you look at it, it's just a plain wall. So, yeah, I stuck some stuff up there. Because everybody's like, you just washed out and it looks horrible. So I put some stuff. It's colorful. I have stacks of this stuff in my house. And on the wall over here and on that shelf over there that I could put up. But it's just an example of, you know, what you do, what you've done really does predict what you'll do. So if people haven't been volunteering in the community, are they going to start because they're running for council? You know, I was at a council meeting Tuesday of this week, right? We passed the budget for the city of Maricopa. The budget that's going to tell us how much money we can spend on everything for the next year. We passed it Tuesday. In the audience were 3 people running for council. Where's everybody else? You know, show up. Talk to people. Go to meetings. Show up at P&Z meetings. Show up at parks meetings. Show up at the budget subcommittee meetings that take an entire day. These are very important things to do. Please get out and do them. Next live feed, put some oysters and pearls out. You'll get more views. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Like food? I don't have any food. I got pretzels. Pretzels. This is my stuff at work. I keep a big bag of pretzels. I don't know what I did with it. I keep a big bag of pretzels on my desk. I keep some antacids on my desk. Some Coke Zeros and some water. But I don't know what the oysters thing is. Give us the budget highlights. We're going to spend about $40 million. The budget highlights are we're actually able to bring some people in to the city and make some hires that we really needed to make. We're bringing new firefighters. We're going to bring in a couple, not a lot, so don't get too excited, but a couple firefighters. We're going to bring in a new person to economic development. We're going to be able to cut the budget at Copper Sky to create some savings to do that. We did not raise taxes. I know you got a notice that says taxes are going up. Taxes did not go up. What happened was the value of your home went up. Tax rate stayed the same. So when the value of the home goes up, if the tax rate stays the same, the dollar amount you pay is going to go up a little bit. But that's just because the values went up. It has nothing to do with us raising taxes. Now, we could have cut taxes, but then we couldn't have done some of the stuff that we need to do, like fund the overpass, help fund the study for the 347, and a lot of other things. So basically, we kept our fund. We spent about $1 million more than the previous year, a little over $1 million, but it allows us to bring on people that we really needed to bring into the city because we had safety issues with fire. We had to bring in new people for the dispatch for police and 911 dispatch. We do that here now. We're building an actual fire department admin. So, where the fire chief goes and stuff. Right now, it's 3 trailers on the Australian property. So we're actually going to build them a brick and mortar building. We're moving the Zephyr train. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in the budget. But I can go through the whole budget with you. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, when you have 10 hours, well, let's have a coffee and I'll go over budgets with you. It's fun. Rainy day surplus, we have about 26 million in our rainy day funds. And we call it our general funds. So we have a ton of money available to us in general funds. We don't spend it on junk. We keep money in the funds so that if God forbid there's an emergency, God forbid there's another recession, we're able to withstand it. Amber, how you doing? You said hello, and I'm saying hello back. Any plans for expanding the 347? Yes, Desiree, there are plans for expanding the 347. We currently are working with a study right now through Maricopa Association of Governments. It's about an 18-month study. It's been about a month or so or two that's been going on. So probably another year and a half, we'll have a study that shows us exactly how we can expand the 347, put overpasses in, interchanges in, and things like that. One of our biggest problems is Riggs Road, where all the accidents happen, is in Maricopa County. So we have to understand that it's going to take a whole bunch of effort between City Council, Pinal County, Maricopa County, federal government, ADOT, the state, and of course Gila River to get it taken care of. But we believe we can expand the 347 using the middle and then put a barrier up so it stops those cars from going over, of course. That's the most important thing, is safety. So put a barrier up, add another lane right in between, go straight up through to the 10. Overpasses, I believe we can do. Overpasses at Riggs and an interchange at Maricopa Road. I believe all that can happen, and it's probably going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years max, starting in 5 years from now. Any plans for expanding? Yes, answer that one. Give us your budget highlights. Did that. Hello, rainy day surplus. Asked it. Impressive. I know I am. You meant the surplus, I know, but I'm joking. All right, so if there's no other questions, I'll go back to this a little bit. Right? This says Maricopa High School boosters for the sponsor. Oh yeah, do that. If you go to a Maricopa football game, Maricopa High School football game, or you go to Maricopa baseball game or a softball game, you'll see I'll be there, sitting there, slinging hamburgers, getting the drinks out of the cooler and handing them to you, taking your money to support the booster community, making cotton candy and nachos and all that. And here's a funny anecdote for you, or I guess a story. When I ran 4 years ago, or when I ran 4.5 years ago, when I said I was going to run for council, I wasn't involved in the high school at all because I had no daughters there. My one daughter was, I think, a freshman at the time. Yeah, so she was a freshman. She had no interest in sports. So I had no interest in sports at the high school, right? She didn't want to go to football games. I didn't want to go to football games. So, but people told me, they're like, hey, you should go to the high school, volunteer so that people see you there and you're running for office. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So I wasn't going to volunteer because I wanted to get noticed. So what happened is I got elected, which is pretty cool. I started on council, which I love. And then my 3 daughters were in high school. Well, 2 daughters were in high school at the same time. And my 3rd daughter was going to high school. So my one daughter, big into sports, into softball. She's played soccer. She tried volleyball in middle school. She didn't like it too much. But she's big into sports. She loves doing sports. So, of course, that gets me involved. So since my kids are liking it, my kids are involved, and they want to be involved, I'm involved, and I help with the booster clubs. So you'll see me at football games helping to raise money for booster clubs now, because booster clubs are overarching, and they help softball, baseball, soccer, they help wrestling clubs, and all the clubs are helped by the booster clubs and the Dugan family. If it wasn't for Tom Dugan, I don't know what sports would be like in the city of Maricopa. Now, Tom is a quiet guy. He doesn't bloviate about himself, and he doesn't, toot his own horn. But I got to tell you, that guy is probably one of the hardest working people in the city of Maricopa, and he does it without being noticed. He does it because he loves the kids in the city, he loves sports in the city, and he loves our community. So anyway, but he's usually the big booster guy. And then each individual sport has their own booster president, but Tom's like the overarching. So, sweet, we need it. Impressive, Bill said, and no other questions. I was telling a story, so it gave you time to type questions. It is currently 8:06. Oh, I'm over. Go figure. It didn't even feel like an hour and a half has passed. I started at 6:30. It's 8:06 now. So let me just finish up. So there's no questions. Did I miss a question? If I did, tell me. Sometimes I miss a question because it goes by fast enough. But let me tell you, as your council member sitting on council today, all I want from you is the chance to talk to you about why I want to be reelected. That's all. I will talk to you about it, and then you make a decision. So when I come to your house and I knock on your door and I say, hey, can I hand you this? Can I talk to you? Can I talk to you about why Mayor Price has endorsed me for re-election? Can I talk to you why it's important to continue the progress we've had? Can I talk to you about serving on Central Arizona Governments, which brings Pinal County together? Give me that moment to talk to you. Now, I'm going to try and knock on thousands of doors in the city of Maricopa, but I'm going to miss some of them. So ask me questions. Talk to me. Send me private messages. Text me. Call me. Email me. 602-373-9996. That is my personal cell phone. Call me. Email me. Text me. Vincent at, campaign at vincentmanfredi.com. It's pretty simple. Email me. Text me. Call me. Check my website, vincentmanfredi.com. But again, very simple. It's my name. vincentmanfredi.com. I have nothing to hide. Call me, text me, email me, check my website. If you're there and you want to make a donation, please help. These things right here, they're so expensive. And then I have these 4x4 signs that I got to put up all over town. They're so expensive. Mailers are expensive. This stuff is expensive. So if you want to make a donation, do it in vincentmanfredi.com. So anyway, as I said, when you have a question, get in contact with me. I will answer your questions. I will do whatever I can to help the people of Maricopa succeed. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I know there wasn't a ton of people on for most of it. I don't know why, but it was kind of low. 10 to 12, 13, 15 people at a time. People coming on and off. But this video will be on my website to view. I'm going to spend $50 to hit boost on it so that people of Maricopa can see it. If you need anything at all, contact me. 602-373-9996. My website, vincentmanfredi.com. Learn about your candidates before voting. Don't vote based on who you think is most popular. Don't vote on whose name you see the most. Vote on who you believe will do the most for this city, for this community. Thank you. God bless. God bless Maricopa. All right, so I hit the button now, and goodbye.